Everything I thought I knew about growing on TikTok was wrong. I posted my music twice a day for 6 months. That's about 350 posts, and none of my growth came from viral videos. So here are the 6 things that actually worked. Okay, something that's talked about a lot when posting on social media is how often to post. Now, posting a lot works, and especially on TikTok, but there's often like a pressure to post on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, X, Threads, and if you try to do it every day on all these different platforms, it's going to drive you mad. So the best way to approach this is to think about one platform which is good to post frequently, and for TikTok it is really good for that. And the reason being is because it shows all your content to new people before it shows it to your followers, and this means it's a great platform for discoverability. Now in a second I'm going to show you how to make it easier to kind of make your content so you're not spending hours and hours every day doing it. But first I want to highlight that one of the main ways to post frequently is to make it really simple, because all you really need on TikTok is a simple post with a solid hook. Take this post for example on my page. So this one here, basically it's got 6,000 views and it just says, if this made it to your FYP. Now that's the hook, trying to draw people in. And then you swipe over and it's just 3 images. The second one says, I want to know where you're from. The third one says, so I can tell my 19-year-old self that my music has reached outside my hometown. So we've got the hook, and then we're asking them to do something, and then we're giving them a reason why to do that thing. And the outcome is people just start posting and commenting on this post. So if you see here, you can just scroll down and so many people are just commenting saying where they're from. Germany, Netherlands, Malta, London, Sweden, Durham. It just keeps going and going. There's loads of comments. And what that does, it signals to the algorithm that people are engaging, and then it'll push that bit of content even more. So that's a really good example of a simple post. It took 5 minutes to make, but it's got a really strong hook and it's asking people to engage. Now, I know a lot of people struggle with hooks, and I still do sometimes. You know, there's some that work for me and there's some that haven't. So what I did is I tested out loads of them, and then I put them into a PDF, top 20 TikTok posts for music producers, and it's something you can download for free, links in the description. So yeah, if you're not too sure where to start here, then this could really help. So posting quite a lot does feel a little bit daunting, but there's a really quick way that I sort of solve this, and it's just using the draft. So you see the top left here, if I click on my drafts, I've already got 3 posts lined up to go, and just like this one I showed you, it's really quick to make, and I make them in bulk, and then I save them in the drafts, and then usually I'll put my music to them, I'll write a little caption, put some hashtags in, and then they'll all be ready to go. So then, you know, if I'm doing it twice a day, I usually do something around midday, something in the evening. So all I have to do then when it comes to those times is just click go and it posts. Sometimes I've got 15, 16 posts saved in this draft, and I'll just spend like an hour making them, and then sometimes you can be sorted for a couple of days or a week without really having to do it again. And I've got an even better hack for you to speed up this process. So on TikTok, you might see a lot of people repeat posting. So they'll repost things that they've posted before that have done well, and it's something that you probably wouldn't really do on Instagram. You'd feel a little bit like maybe annoying people if you did that, and it's because on Instagram it mainly shows your content to your followers first, whereas if you remember about TikTok, it's sending it to new people first. If you've had a piece of content that's done really well, then don't just leave it at that. You can post it again and even again and again. Sometimes people keep posting the same piece of content, maybe just with a slight variable each time, and they're gaining new followers every time. And I've got a really good example of this. So if I scroll down, there's this video here that I got 11,000 views on, and then if I click on the analytics, I got 120 followers from this video. And I decided about 2 weeks later just to repost it again. I literally didn't change anything. It was the exact same video, same caption and everything. And the next time I did it, it got 12,000 views, and then analytics again, this one got 104 followers. So if I'd have just left it at that one time posting, I might have missed out on 100 followers. That's 100 new people to potentially become new fans of my music. So when we're saving our content to drafts, sometimes just scroll down your page, see which bits of content worked well, and you could just repost them. Okay, in just a moment I'm going to show you a huge mistake most producers do when they're posting their content between Instagram and TikTok. But first, I just want to show you why TikTok is so good at the moment for music producers, and it's because there's a really nice link between TikTok and Spotify. So let's just go on my top post here, and if I just go in the comments, you'll see if I scroll down a little bit, This person here just said, amazing, got lost in this, talking about the song, subbed and followed on Spotify. And that is really interesting because I don't get that as much on Instagram, but on TikTok I might post something, and even if it doesn't blow up and go viral, then people are still commenting on it, saying that I've saved this to my Spotify playlist, or I've followed you on Spotify. And it's amazing seeing that, because it's almost like every single post, some of my posts have got 500 views and 2 people have saved my song on Spotify. So it really highlights that point that you don't need to go viral to build up an audience on TikTok, and that you can also rely on that those fans are going to go to the right place. As long as you're leading with your music, putting your music on top of these videos and carousels, and you're giving them a bit of a call to action, maybe you're showing them the song on the final slide, or you're telling them to come and follow your channel, then if it finds the right people, they're going to go and listen to your music. And then when you've got them on Spotify, that's where they might do an action like save or add it to a playlist. And that's the biggest goal with all this posting. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people to listen to our music. However, that won't happen if people fall for this trap, which so many producers do, and I've fallen for it myself. And it is when you're posting between Instagram and TikTok, producers will make a piece of content for Instagram, and then they'll repost the exact same content on TikTok. But let me tell you now, it just doesn't work. You see, even big artists, they post a reel that might have done really well on Instagram, but on TikTok it gets like 300-400 views. And it's because they're 2 different platforms, they work in 2 different ways, and people's behaviors are different on each one. Remember, Instagram mainly shows your content to your followers first. So say if you've got a big artist and they've got a solid following on Instagram, they post a video of them at a gig, and it's probably going to do really well. They'll probably get a lot of engagement, maybe a load of views, because all their followers are engaged with them already. Whereas TikTok, it's showing it to new people. So if we don't give them a reason to follow, then people will just swipe by. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. So here's my Instagram page, and this reel here is just me in the studio. I put a little caption over the top saying, made this, felt something. I got my usual kind of engagement through my followers that you'd expect, 700 views. It is pretty standard for my Instagram at the moment. I'm still building this up, but I got a nice little bit of engagement there. But let me show you now the difference between what I do on TikTok. So on TikTok, I changed the caption. I made it more about myself as an artist. I compared it to other artists that are similar to what I make, and then said, come join the crew. I'm giving them a call to action at the end. And this one on TikTok got 2,000 views, and if I go on analytics as well, then it got 31 followers just from that. And that didn't happen on Instagram. But there was 2 different purposes. TikTok was for discoverability. I was trying to draw new fans in, and that's exactly what happened. On Instagram, I was more just trying to show a little bit more depth in my brand for my existing following. And that's the real difference between these 2 platforms. And that's why I just encourage anyone, if you've got a post that you've made for Instagram, a studio clip, a gig reel, anything like that, if you post it on TikTok, just add a caption over the top, get people to engage, give them a call to action, anything to just draw people in, and you'll start seeing some success that way. Okay, so I hope you gained something from this. If you're still here, you're a legend. Thank you for sticking around. I made a series to go with the PDF, which is called Producer versus TikTok. So if you check out this next video, it's episode 1. There's 7 episodes, and it's just me showing you some of these different posts that I've been doing just to get you started with all this. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next video.